Hey guys, I am Ivan Williams. I am currently living in Jamaica, and you may be wondering who I am and on what authority am I speaking. I studied at the University of Guyana, where I did my first degree in medical technology and majored in microbiology. Then I went on to do medicine, where I completed 5 years for my primary medical qualification, and then I further went on to study in Scotland, where I did a master's in family medicine. Now, I've always been intrigued by microbiology, and it's important to know that when we're talking about microbiology, we're talking about things like bacteria as well as fungi, protozoa, and even viruses. Now, one thing I learned a long time ago is that viruses are non living things, and because they're non living, they have no functions of life. They require a host to replicate and a host to carry out its function. So, if we are truly going to look at viruses in that light, when we speak about living or surviving, I think survival might be a better word than living. A virus is not alive. A virus is a protein capsule with a piece of DNA or RNA in it. Now, it's just like a computer virus, because computer viruses, what happens? You will have a an external thing enter the system and corrupt its file systems. The same with the human body. It's a piece of DNA, and the DNA is the basic file system, so to speak. And if a virus enters, it corrupts that system and tells your body to do things that it shouldn't. So your body carries out functions like excess production of mucus, carries out function like creating calcium crystals, for example. And we're looking back at a virus called CHIKV or chikungunya, which was weird because people had some intense joint pains. What we need to realize is that if you know that much about viruses, then viruses can also be modified or created. Coronavirus is not a new virus, it's a new strain of the virus, and if it is so virulent and it can be so easily transmitted, it means it had to have been modified. So if we're thinking that the virus is causing this pandemic, then is there any kind of influence from humankind that is causing this virus to spread so rapidly? Did someone modify the genetic code to create such a monstrosity? Now, if we're going to focus on the whole 5G thing, that is not necessarily a bad or a totally absurd thing, because truth be told, this 5G thing emits a lot of radiation indeed, and I was doing a bit of research and I found out that it can go way faster than 4G, and in order to have something of such strength and waves that can penetrate buildings to bring about that speed, it has to emit a lot of radiation. Now, radiation has all kinds of effects, and it can cause not only cancers but respiratory issues, and it can cause flu-like symptoms apparently. So I'm in Jamaica and we're having some of the same issues as the rest of the world. In the US, there is a larger population. In France and Italy, there's a larger population, and in China, they seem to be concentrated in those countries because that's the first place that they installed the technology in the towers. But in Jamaica, there is no tower, at least not that I know of, and if it's coming to Jamaica, it's a bit slow. Maybe it's just the satellites that are emitting such radiation from way above and is causing this. So this is my theory, that younger people or younger folk seem to be doing a bit better, even though we're all equally affected in this COVID-19 thing, because we have been slowly radiated with our phones. Our radiation level has been higher than the older folk because we have had a longer time and more exposure to radiation with technology. It's not impossible to see how this new level of radiation will be a lot more tolerated by the younger generation. There have been a lot of cases where we can't link the patient to a specific cause or exposure of coronavirus. That means that if coronavirus is being transmitted and you can't even say that this person was actually exposed, how did they get it? It brings into focus the whole idea of radiation and the possibilities that, hey, maybe this 5G radiation could be a source of transmission and hence infectivity. We've had a few cases that improved over time, but even the incubation period, even the recovery period, it seems variable for different people. In the world today, we have over 1 million cases of confirmed COVID-19, and we've had only about over 200,000 cases that recovered. Our death toll is way over 50,000. That is serious. I mean, if this virus is so crazy and virulent, why can't we figure it out as yet? Why is this all like new territory, like we're now trying to figure out? The viruses are not new. We've had viruses in the world for as long as the world existed, and we've figured them out quite quickly. We know how they operate. We know the duration of the incubation period. We know how long the illness itself lasts, but we can't figure it out with this one. Why is that so? Is it really a virus that we're dealing with? The whole end of world theory seems to be a next big talk around the web and social media, and in a sense it does match up with a lot of what end day is supposed to look like. But there is this theory that all that's happening right now is a cover so that more 5G towers can be installed, and the whole isolation and stay at home thing is just to prevent the world from seeing what's really happening. I do believe that given the current facts, because we have to depend on facts, and the current facts is that we have a test that comes positive when you do a DNA, because the PCR testing is done to isolate the DNA of a certain thing, in this case the virus, and we have isolated and repeatedly confirmed the isolation of that particular part of the DNA that points to COVID-19. Unless this is a coincidence that we can find something in the body, can we really then say that it is radiation from the towers? Can we really then say that the reason why we're having such issues is because of 5G? I don't know if 5G can change our DNA so that is picked up on the PCR. I doubt it can. But whatever it is, the admonition is that we try our best to stick to the guidelines of the government. We try our best to do our part to prevent the spread. Why is China ahead of us? They were the world leader, the epicenter. Now their numbers are paling in comparison to some of the numbers that are popping up from the US and from the rest of the world, Spain and Italy. So why are they so adversely affected? Look at the facts, and the facts should give you more answers than